Pennsylvania has really two primary investment tools through our retiree system for our state workers and our retiree system for our public school retirees. So it's the PSERS and SERS. Those are the two acronyms for our retirement boards. And together,
that's a lot of money, too.
A lot of money. It's about $115 billion that they invest. It's a little less now given the market downturn, although it's coming back. And of that $115 billion, about $2.5 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars, is invested in foreign companies that are currently doing business in Iran and in Sudan. And of course, Sudan is where Darfur is, where genocide is occurring. I mean, actual genocide is occurring. And Iran, of course, you can't open up the newspaper without reading about the troubles in Iran and the threat that Iran poses, not just to America, but to our allies throughout the world. And so I have legislation that actually passed in the House in the last session, and we'll be considering it again soon in this current session, that would say you can't invest that money anymore into these terror-sponsoring nations, that instead you need to invest terror-free. So don't invest in that foreign company doing business in Iran. Instead, invest it in some other company. And not only, Kevin, is it morally the right thing to do, it's also economically and fiscally the right thing to do. You know, we've got retirees who are depending upon a return on the investment. And I don't know about you, but I think it's a risky proposition to be investing in Iran or investing in Darfur in this current geopolitical climate. You know, we need federal legislation to pass and state legislation to pass to really enable this to happen. I've teamed up with Senator Bob Casey, here from Pennsylvania, of course, who's led the fight in the U.S. Senate, who's passed his bill in the U.S. Senate to make this happen, to essentially establish the parameters to go about doing this divesting. We already have such a federal bill on Sudan. We need this one on Iran that Senator Casey has authored, and it's critical that we get it done. Again, morally the right thing to do, but also fiscally the right thing to do.
Well, you mentioned fiscally. Let's stop again and show everyone a clip of Representative Shapiro speaking during a recent news conference here at the Capitol about why divesting fiscally is the right move.
We must invest prudently, and prudent investments require us to divest from foreign companies that actively do business with these terror-sponsoring nations. And there's new evidence that the Commonwealth could realize even stronger yields, stronger gains if we invest terror-free. In fact, the FTSE Group recently came out with a terror-free index. And when you compare that with an all-world index, which includes some of these companies that do business in terror-sponsoring nations, a $1,000 investment looked at over the last 5 years would yield $1,500 in the terror-free fund. In the non-terror-free fund, it would yield just $1,180. It is financially a prudent thing to do.
Well, it certainly seems like a great idea. Where is your bill now in the process?
Sure. My bill went through the first step, and that is it has to be passed out of committee, pending on the House floor, and we'll consider it on the House floor soon. Again, in the last session, it did pass the House, so I'm optimistic we'll get it through the House this time and go over to the Senate, and hopefully the Senate will consider the legislation this time. It's so important, and it's something that we should do and should do very soon.